Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back. Thanks so much for being here today. Be sure to like and subscribe. I don't know why I said that.
I'm glad to be here with you today, and let me say that red jacket is absolutely beautiful on you, and I look like a shag nasty who just came in off the street.
Okay. All right.
I had a home inspection for our Sherwood Austin Real Estate Solutions team, and so I had to go let in an inspector, and it was cold.
I don't think you look like a shag nasty. You just look sporty. That's
I do.
all.
I look sporty. I look like I'm ready to go to a disc golf game at any minute.
Sporty spice.
There you go. Normally, though, as a guy who's been a lender for 21 years and a realtor for the past while now, I like to look professional.
All buttoned up.
Yeah, not at all today.
Do you know what I told Ada the other day? In case you didn't know, Ada's our, what is her title? Creative director, sidekick.
Groovy kid.
And
I love that kid.
I've said so much that I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I said to her the other day, man, it's getting harder and harder to dress up for this job.
Okay.
I have penny loafers on today. Do you want to see them?
I do. There they are.
Let me pull them up to camera.
You got to go up high.
I could get my foot up that high.
Keep the shoe. You've done it before on the program.
Aren't they the cutest? Navy blue penny loafers.
Yeah.
They're from, you know where I got them? My favorite shoe store. You know what it is?
Designer shoe whorehouse?
Designer shoe warehouse.
A warehouse. Slip of the old tongue.
David Austin. Yeah. You know, they used to be really good. You could go to DSW and you could find like super high-end shoes it was actually a clearance warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've got their own brands that they just make cheap shoes and put them out there.
Oh, there you go.
This one
Different
was
entirely.
one that was a really nice brand. You can still find them every once in a while. I don't know why I'm telling this story except that I'm just talking about our life.
Well, and you like shoes, and shoes are important to you.
Oh my God, David, TikTok went down.
For like
12 hours.
Yeah, and I think it was just a stunt, a gimmick as it were.
I said, who do you think bought TikTok? I said it.
Is there confirmation that they've been purchased or taken over in part?
I don't have confirmation, but there are only. I think that is what happened, though. I think a deal was brokered, and there are only a handful of people in the whole world that could do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think Zuck did it. And I said that like a week ago or more. I said I think that's what happened. And time will tell. I think people are speculating that did happen. I saw somebody on TikTok had a TikTok where she was like, today I'm talking about my cats. And she spoke all about her cats, but she was holding up like little pieces of paper that said, go to your account settings, click on this, scroll down to this, go over to this, and you'll see that Facebook or Meta now owns it or whatever. I don't know because I didn't do it. But she was talking about her cats the whole time as like in code. Is that really where we are in the world that we have to do that?
I don't think so. I think it seems kind of weird. I don't know.
She didn't want her video to get taken down.
By whom?
By Meta if they bought it. If she's telling people how to find out that
Well, if you've listened to anything
information.
Mark Zuckerberg has said in the last 2 months, he's all anti-censorship now, and he's talking about how censoring things during COVID was the biggest mistake of his life. So I don't think he's taking anybody down anymore.
Well, all I know is I couldn't see my funny videos or my workout videos or my cooking videos for like 12 hours, and you know what happened? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Somebody asked me if TikTok goes away, what platform are you moving to? I said, I'm not. I'm just going to get my life back.
All of my alien things.
That was funny.
Or it's very funny, and I'm adding to that story. All of my alien things and my conspiracy theory videos are on TikTok, but I didn't even miss it when they went down because I have, for the last 2 weeks, been exclusively watching disc golf videos on Facebook Reels exclusively. I mean, I can't get out of it. It's the weirdest thing ever.
It's not weird.
And
it's
they
algorithm.
know I prefer throwing a forehand, so every video is about a good forehand, every single one.
This is the magic of the algorithm, right?
Yes.
That's why when people say, I remember when TikTok, was newer, right? It was only a year or two old, and people would say, we need to ban TikTok because of the smut that's on there, because
Is there smut on TikTok?
I have no idea. It doesn't come up in my algorithm, but the point that I'm getting to is somebody who talks about all that's on TikTok is smut.
Is looking for smut.
That's your algorithm,
That's
my
exactly
friend.
Right. That's exactly right.
I've never seen it.
The game that we played, we had a brunch at our house in Baton Rouge,
with like 9 people.
With 9 people, and we played a game that we had never seen before. We had people
or since.
True. We had everybody at it was an idea.
You're
going to
like this. Pay attention. This is good.
People had to pull up their For You page and their what's the other page on
following
there? And their following page.
Yeah.
And we saw like 3 random videos from each.
You had to show the first 3
Yep.
that came up on your For You, and then the first 3 that came up on your following.
Yep.
And you can learn a lot about a person.
And what I found out
hilarious.
then that from TikTok, 100% of what I was interested in was people doing celebrity impressions, because that was all 6 of the videos that came up was that. So there you go.
Yep.
Now,
we're back.
It'd be a little different now. There'd be some alien conspiracy, maybe some, I don't know, who's flying the drones videos. I don't know. But if you looked at my reels.
What happened to the drones?
I don't know what happened to the drones.
Do you remember how there was like the drones over
the entire
New
Northeast
Jersey or whatever, and all of a sudden they're not?
Yeah. I remember the press conference at Mar-a-Lago where the governor of Louisiana and the governor of like Missouri were at dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Trump, and Trump's like, I'll tell you my first day. And the governor of Louisiana.
Like what the drones were all about.
And then 2 weeks prior to his inauguration, that story fully disappeared. So there's been no comment. And I suspect
that's weird.
The reason that story disappeared is because it has to do with maybe it was us flying the drones. And if we stop with the story, then Trump doesn't have to explain what it is as soon as he's inaugurated. And so that story's just been out of the news cycle for 2 weeks. So we don't know what the answer is.
So the other big news since we last recorded a podcast is that we had the inauguration.
That's exactly right.
And here's what I think about it. Not really much at all. I love looking at the fashion of it, though. I loved seeing all the dresses and whatever. And that's about my level of care.
What did you think about the First Lady's hat?
Loved it.
At the inauguration.
Loved it.
I didn't know what I was looking at there. It kind of looked like the Bo Derek Bolero thing where she wore that flat, wide-brimmed hat. Do you remember that?
I loved the look. I don't know. Some people loved it. Some people didn't. I thought it was very her.
She's super elegant. It doesn't hurt if you're, a model who has done some world-class shoots if you happen to be the First Lady as well. That doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
super stylish.
I love fashion. I don't care who it is.
Yeah. And Jacqueline Kennedy is who started the fashion craze in the First Lady role.
Right. Yep.
And I would say there's been no one as fashionable as her until we had Melania.
How old is George Bush?
Which one? George W. Bush?
Well, the one,
his dad's
one of
now
them's dead.
Recently deceased, like in the last 5 years, right?
So,
I don't know how old George W. Bush is. I would guess W is probably in his 70s. 78.
Thank you, Ada. George W. Bush, 78 years old. When I'm 78 years old, politics completely aside, because I don't care about it at all. When I'm 78, I hope I'm as happy as he is at 78. And I suspect it's because he spends a good amount of his time creating art.
Sure.
I mean, he's a meme now.
He's tickled pink with whatever's happening.
Yeah.
He looks like he just heard the funniest joke ever and he's trying to restrain his laughter.
Right.
Every time the camera close-ups on him, he's
yeah.
Every time.
Just super happy.
I love it.
So there you go. That's all I have about that.
That's the searing political talk on the podcast.
I'll tell you, I've tried to stay off social media, though, because, geez, people are freaking out. I just don't have a lot of space for it. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to put food on the table. I'm trying to close deals. I'm trying to help people move from where they are to where they want to be. I'm trying to just move my business forward and do all that. I don't have a lot of time to be pissed off on social media about a presidential election. And maybe people think, well, you should have strong opinions, but I'm trying to work out the details of a low appraisal this week.
That's right.
Which I had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it couldn't have worked out better, that particular deal that you're talking about, because, it came in a little bit low. The appraisal came in a little bit low for one of our clients. I happened to be doing the loan.
We were representing the buyer. I was representing the buyer.
And I was doing the loan.
Let me tell you why it's important that I just said that.
Okay.
I don't want people listening to this to think that I misprice homes.
Right. No.
So it wasn't my low appraisal.
Right. That's exactly right.
We don't price the homes. The seller prices the home, but based on our research, right, and recommendation.
And counseling. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I represented the buyer. Go ahead.
So anyway, it's a VA buyer.
Yeah.
And so the VA assigns an appraiser. We don't get to pick the appraiser. The Veterans Administration does.
Right.
And their number one job as VA appraisers is to protect the veteran from making a bad investment.
Right.
And
which is great.
Yeah. And in that particular loan, we got a notice of Tidewater.
Tidewater alert.
Yep. So Tidewater was invoked by this appraiser.
And this is let me just say right now, I knew what it was.
Sure.
I knew what that meant.
Yes.
You have to, in this industry, probably really in any industry, be a lifelong learner in your industry. Be a lifelong learner.
Right. When they made it inappropriate for appraisers to talk value with lenders prior to delivery of the appraisal, only one type of appraisal is exempt from that rule, and that happens to be VA.
Yeah.
So with a VA loan, they can invoke Tidewater, and what that does is it gives realtors time
48 hours
to put together their comps to justify the value to the appraiser.
Which I think is an amazing opportunity. So they don't just come back with a low appraisal, right? They say, hey,
like every other loan.
Hey, I'm not getting there. Can you help me out? And normally we don't get to talk to appraisers either. And so this is an incredible, unique opportunity to be able to actually speak directly to, submit information to, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And it was hard because I think, not everybody knows what that means. Not everybody, it just is what it is. I had to educate the other realtor about what it even meant. Mm-hmm. And then I think there was a lot of confusion, which caused a lot of unnecessary frustration on my part, and a lot of probably unnecessary emotional turmoil for the sellers of this property.
Sure. And we've talked...
I'm being very nice, by the way.
And we've talked about this on the program before. In many situations in life, people create a drama triangle to get the heat off of themselves.
Yes.
It's like when you're at a restaurant and the waitress doesn't write anything down, or the waiter, the server doesn't write anything down. Yeah. And then when they come with your food, it's fully wrong. I want the bourbon steak. And instead they come with some teriyaki chicken.
I know. I'm always like, are you sure you don't want to write this down? Because I got a lot of weird...
And so someone who creates a drama triangle, where if it was the server, would say, oh my God, the kitchen, how'd they get it wrong? Now we've made the kitchen the bad guy.
They're the villain.
I prefer when somebody says, holy cow, I went to another table right after yours, and I better make sure they don't get the bourbon steak instead of the teriyaki chicken because I must have messed something up. You know what? If a waiter or server says that to me,
yeah,
they just jumped up in my book.
Yeah, I mean, that's on me. I made a mistake.
Absolutely.
Let me fix it. How can I fix it?
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think something I've run into a lot this last week, some in that transaction, some in other situations as well, is, running into people's doomsday mindset.
Right.
Right? Oh, no, it's all bad.
Right.
Oh, well.
Attitude is a
like an
very
Eeyore
interesting
mindset,
thing. Yes.
right? You know what I mean by that?
I do,
You remember
yeah.
the character from Winnie the Pooh?
Of course, we all do.
Eeyore.
I don't know.
It's a pretty good Eeyore.
Yeah, well, I've seen cartoons.
You've read stories to
I've
children.
read stories and seen cartoons.
Did your kids read the Winnie the Pooh story?
I'm sure they did, yeah.
Did you do voices when you
Of course I did.
told stories? You do a good Tigger. T-I-double-G-er.
Yeah. That's right. T-I-double-G-er. Yeah.
I like it.
We did all that.
That's so fun.
Anyway, my accents that I did for my children, though, were always a little inappropriate, slightly racially insensitive. Like,
but you were doing like
real people I know.
Exactly.
But like I did Pakistani Panther, and Pakistani Panther was a Beanie Baby that was a panther, and he had a Pakistani accent.
Because
I grew up with a bunch of Pakistani people, and I could speak like them, and I do impressions of them.
Yeah.
To them.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all of my characters are a little on the line insensitive. Like, nobody cares if you do a funny Irish accent. Nobody's upset if you pretend to be a leprechaun. But you better not try to sound Asian. You better not.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Some social commentary
Absolutely.
now. I see.
So no one is doing Charlie Chan anymore. That is gone. It's outmoded. It's out.
I see.
Right.
Okay, so back to the Eeyore mindset.
Sure.
Please don't come to me with that.
Right.
Man, it's so, I'm like, hey, let's find a solution. Let's figure out, hold my hand and let's find some solutions together.
Yes.
As a realtor, if you have a cross deal with me, if we have a transaction together, guaranteed that's how I'm going to approach it.
Right.
Come on. We can get through this. Let's figure out a solution. Let's see if there is a way.
And that's a positive mindset, and one thing that
just how I want to live.
Sure.
I don't want to live
One thing that you've really embraced since you've known me is that kindness is always appropriate. So always striving to be kind. Bringing someone a problem is unkind. Bringing someone a solution is kind.
Well, okay. If you have a problem, though, and you don't know the solution, I just emailed somebody at the city of Richland, and I said, I'm trying to change my address on my business license. It can't be that complicated. But between the Department of Revenue and the city, it's been over a month.
Sure.
It's been like 5 weeks now of just going back and forth and tracking it down. And I did just email John at the city and say, here's what's going on. Do you have any thoughts?
Right.
And that I'm not bringing him a solution, but I'm like, this is what I did. I can't seem to fix this. What do you think?
Right.
What do you think here?
Well, it's okay to ask for advice.
Yeah.
That's not unkind, but being mad because you don't have the solution instantaneously, that is unkind.
I was telling someone the other day, my friend Ellen May, who I absolutely love, and she's a person I love spending time with. She's got a very mellow vibration.
Okay.
It's the best way I can put it.
Yep.
It's just so relaxing. And I was telling her about some funny she used to be a realtor. We got licensed at the same time. She does other things now, but so I tell her my realtor stories, right? Like I entertain her with my funny realtor stories. So I was going on and on about something. And I said, you know, and this person was just so emotionally spun up. And she said, well, isn't that pretty common in the industry? I think it's, and then we kind of went on to say it's pretty common in humanity. Right. So she said there are so few people that live in their bodies.
Okay. What does that mean? That live in their bodies? Like
tuned in to what they're feeling and being able to kind of moderate that.
I gotcha.
Without throwing up your outrageous feelings all over the world.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I get mad, I get crazy, I have big emotions, but if I'm in a business transaction, if I'm talking to a professional or one of my clients or I'm trying to keep my vibration really centered. Right?
See, I like it that you're saying that, your vibration. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about this, and we talked about it a little bit on last week's program, that we are electromagnetic beings, right?
Right.
And I've seen like 3 different things since we had that conversation where people said those exact words.
Oh, really?
Yes. And, you know, we
well,
are.
It's not a big jump from your conspiracy theory and alien TikToks to that.
Well, I guess
fair.
You're right. But, you know, I was listening to a physicist the other day talking about being electromagnetic beings, and we absolutely are. They jumpstart your heart when it stops because it's an electromagnetic pulse. Yeah. Right?
So get your vibration dialed in. I was talking to a good friend this morning. I made a phone call that I don't often make, and it was just a, hey, are you doing okay? Kind of a call, right? And as we were talking, she was talking about that very thing. Like, I just need to, I've been living in survival and chaos for so long.
Right.
I've got to start integrating something into my life, some routine, some rituals in my life that balance out my vibration, that like bring it all down.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
It's funny how much of our conversation since the new year has been around this kind of thing.
Well, it's something we talked about. That's all. It's something we're interested in, I guess. Right?
I don't know.
It's like the story, and again, I'm not trying to talk about anything crazy metaphysical or anything like that, but you hear stories all the time about twins. One gets hurt and the other knows it, and nobody knows how, right?
Yeah.
And I suspect they're on similar frequencies.
Right, yeah.
And so the communication happens. It's not something they choose. It just happens, right? I'm pretty dialed into you sometimes, and I swear to God, I say to you, did you just say so-and-so? And you say, no, but I was just thinking
thought it.
Right? Yeah. That happens all the time, but I think we're on similar frequencies.
Yeah.
You know? I don't think any of that's weird. I'm tuned into
your station, baby.
I think so. Right? I don't think there's anything weird about that at all.
Hey, exciting news.
Yeah?
I want to do the restaurant review no one asked for before we run out of time.
Okay.
But before we do that, we have a new listing.
Yep.
And so because this is my show, I get to use my time to talk about whatever I want to, and I will promote my new listing. Yes, I will. The address is 5103 Brooklyn Lane, and that's in Pasco. And it is the most gorgeous, updated, remodeled house. If you are looking for that base plan of those homes, was it an AHO home?
It was an AHO home, yes.
And it's the 1072 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. Very awesome, kind of basic, good home.
Fully updated.
The kitchen's full remodel. It's got so many updates that like I couldn't put it all in the description. And then the details. Okay, so our seller is admittedly OCD and also well trained as a contractor.
Right.
He worked for a contractor for a long time. So, for example, the floors in the whole house is one floor, no transitions.
Beautiful. No transitions. When he told us that story,
that's craftsmanship right
there. That
there.
is craftsmanship.
So anyway, 5103 Brooklyn Lane in Pasco, Washington. It's $365,000, very competitively priced, fully fenced backyard, and the pool stays.
Yes,
so you get a pool.
It's an oversized above ground pool.
It's an oval shaped above ground with a brand new filter.
Yep, brand new. He
never
sand
cleans
filter, right?
the pool. Yeah, brand new Intex sand filter.
There you go. It's a
high efficiency
fully fenced.
HVAC. It's newer roof. The roof's 2 years old.
Yeah, it's funny that you say newer.
Thing.
Newer. I was in a home inspection this morning for the old team at Sherwood Austin Real Estate Solutions, and the house is advertised as having a newer hot water heater. It's 8 years old, so it's newer than the house, which was built in the 70s, but it ain't new at 8 years old.
People, come on.
The inspector goes, I thought this said it had a new hot water heater. And by the way, it looks pretty new. It does to the naked eye. To the untrained eye, I'm like, well, yeah, doesn't it? And he goes, well, the card here says it's 8 years old.
Oh, my gosh. I went to a reinspection yesterday for our clients. So when you have a whole house inspection on a property, then you can re-inspect. If you request repairs,
right,
you can have your inspector come out and do a re-inspection to make sure the repairs were done correctly.
Sure.
And the contract says that has to be done 3 days prior to closing. I change it to 7 days because I want time just in case something isn't done right. Time to get it right before closing. Yep. So anyway, we went out to do a reinspection, and this is something that's really fun that happens. I forgot how cool the house was.
Yeah, it really is a cool house.
We haven't been out there for a few weeks since the inspection, and when I went, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how cool this was. It's on this cul-de-sac, and it's like country, but in the city.
And I'm a horrible inobservant person because the front yard is park-like, and I didn't even notice it when we showed the house.
Right. Yeah.
I was so excited that we had borrowers that were excited to be there and having fun and talking about their lives that I didn't even notice the front yard. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to put a disc golf course on it.
By the way, if you remember us talking about that mountain retreat lot that we had for sale in Roslyn, Washington.
Yes.
So it looks like we may have that sold. So
it's not done yet, but
that's pretty exciting.
By the time you hear this, it may be done.
It may be done.
That's pretty cool.
Still accepting offers, but it looks like we've got it put together. So that's kind of fun. Things are definitely picking up in the real estate world, and it's not because anything changed except the political climate. And so I think
I got to tell you though,
people.
We had 2 walk-ins in the mortgage company the day after the presidential inauguration, and the sun came out. So I don't know if there's any connection there, but it looks like consumer confidence is up.
Yeah, I can tell you too, the weather does have something to do with it. If the sun is shining, people go look at houses and they move and whatever. All right, enough of that garbage. The restaurant review nobody asked to hear. David, give it to us.
Hellfire Pizza on 395 in Kennewick, Washington. Meh.
Just okay.
You know what? It was The Rock before it was Hellfire Pizza. Before that,
like
it was something else.
Yeah.
It's the coolest looking building in town for pizza. It's the coolest looking pizza place in town. The pizza's not the best pizza in town, but it's cool looking.
It was just okay.
It was pretty okay.
And the wings were a sad comparison to Gray's Wings and Things.
That's true.
At Summers Hub.
Food Hub, yeah. So it
was meh. I think meh was the appropriate thing.
The pizza was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't great and it wasn't bad.
We still haven't tried Eats Pizzeria, which a couple of people have told us, hey, you got to go try that. So maybe we'll venture over there.
We do need to try that. And
Yeah.
they're the home of like the 26-inch pizza, which is crazy.
It's a lot of pizza.
It's a big fat gang of pizza.
We'll have to bring friends if we do that.
That's like a 10-year-old's birthday party. You get one 26-inch pizza and feed 30 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you this week, David Austin.
Okay, and we only have a couple seconds left in the show, so let's go ahead and hit
wrap
the outro
it up,
and
baby.
wrap her up.
We forget anything, Ada?
Any books that we need to talk about? Does Dolly Parton have a new cooking book? I don't know. I know you love Dolly Parton.
Let's find out. I don't know that we can throw it in right there at the end, but yeah.
No books that you want to talk about? Anything that you're reading?
I'm still reading what I was reading last week.
Okay.
The Mountain is You. I'm telling you, if you want to do some, reflection on yourself and change the way you think about things and look at life, it's a great one. But other than that, I'm out.
I'm rereading Dismissed with Prejudice by J.A. Jance. And if you're a Pacific Northwesterner and you like Seattle and you like murder mysteries, that's a good book to read. Any of the J.A. Jance books. I'm happy to report I did survive another hot flash during our podcast. I do love your hot flashes. You start pulling off. We don't want to talk about that. For Londa, Joanne, Sherwood, Austin, I'm David Austin, and this has been The Session with Londa and David.